think the face-to-face appointments are extremely important. I have seen something come up about a house in the past that I think my buyers wouldn't be okay with.
Okay.
And I would call them or text them and say, hey, this happens, and then we'd cancel the appointment. Well, now I might still go out and show them that home and point it out, but at least I'm there in front of them and can explain it. Hey, I already have a few other things that we can look at while we're out here, instead of just, hey, this one's not going to be it, let's move on. Because then they might be contacting somebody else.
It's the instantaneous gratification environment that we live in. We can go to all these portals and they can get so much information on a home way quicker than we can provide it. But guess what those portals can't do? Face-to-face relationships. To ask curiosity, like have super curiosity-based conversations that are empathetic in nature to, again, that relationship. That face-to-face makes a big difference. Hey, Jack Lehr down at Lehr's Lehr Podcast. So, two teammates. I'm so fortunate to be on the same team as my guest today, and I get the pleasure to present you to Isaiah Romero and Brett Jones. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yes.
Are we going to be super nervous today, Isaiah?
I will not be.
Oh my goodness, this is something new. I love that because a lot of times when I walk into the room, you get a little nervous.
Well, yeah. I mean, especially my first impression of you was I was a little nervous in the beginning.
What was that first impression?
Well, I mean, when I saw you at the car wash.
The car wash.
Yeah, and that's when I was like, oh, aren't you the guy that has a podcast with another agent?
That's funny. So just let's get a little background here, Brett and Isaiah. So you guys are sub 6 months-ish in the business of real estate sales, correct? And you both worked at the local car wash, giving great service, and I would always come through every day. I was that prima donna that, don't mess up my car, that guy. So maybe that's why I had that feeling a little bit, right? Yeah. Probably less of that, but, every now and then that stuff happens. And but you guys came from the car wash industry.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Was that the first, main job that you guys started out with right after, high school? Or
For me, yeah, I started when I was in high school at 16 years old. That's the first job I ever had.
Okay.
And then I had some in between, but it wasn't what I wanted life, long term.
Okay. And then, Brett, what about yourself?
I went to college for 3 years. I wanted to be a police officer and joined FBI with a family member.
Really?
And changed that. I went to the car wash. I was there for 6 years. And there's where I was able to meet other people that were real estate agents and was able to pick brains a little here and there and got me interested in it. And now I'm here.
And that's kind of how you entered the industry, is somebody was like myself, maybe was going through the car wash quite often, and you had a conversation. And then, Brett, you got introduced to the industry and said, hey, maybe I want to do this for a living, right?
Yeah, back when the pandemic first started, the shutdown, that's when I really started getting interested in it.
Okay, very good. And then, Isaiah, similar story?
Somewhat. For me, I tried to experience, medical assisting, and then I figured that wasn't for me, just sitting down in front of a computer the whole time.
Okay.
Can't do that for the rest of my life. And then, just a lot of people started coming to the car wash, and a lot of realtors came in. I'm like, you know what, I want to be like that someday.
Yeah.
And so.
Are they driving expensive cars, and you're like,
oh, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Really nice cars. I was like, oh, snap, I want to get there one day.
Oh, snap. I love it. We have a lot of fun with Isaiah because, a lot of interesting comments come out of your mouth, right? And here's the funny thing. We did a promo before this podcast today, and Isaiah was supposed to, talk a little bit in Spanish, right?
Yeah, I was supposed to.
and he actually forgot his first language.
Yeah, I forgot to turn the switch.
He forgot Spanish. He was so nervous he forgot to speak any Spanish. He forgot the language, folks, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess he did anyway. But it was funny that, but he did it all in English, and our promo was pretty funny. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. So, Brett, you were in there in the industry, and I guess it was Cloister that became Mr. Car Wash, right? In York, Pennsylvania. And you said, I'm gonna start getting licensed, right? When you went through the licensing process, like, what did you think of that compared to what you know now?
Well, I think there's a lot of information that you have to learn, for sure.
Okay.
And the testing really can overwhelm you. And then it's completely different from what you're doing every day.
Okay.
But if something comes up from those classes, it's nice that you can remember it. But I would say a lot of what I've learned is kind of at the back of my mind.
Yeah.
And you just take every day as a different day.
So a lot of people will share with me like their experience of the class versus the real estate sales. Because getting a license is one thing, and the barrier to entry is that 75-hour course, passing 2 proctor exams, and then passing the national in Pennsylvania or the state exams in our local market, right?
Yeah.
When you took the 75-hour course, what percentage of that information do you think is used in like real estate sales? I'll ask you, Brett, first.
I would think maybe 25%.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of information in there that you would rarely use.
Very good.
It's good to have some things I like that I remembered them.
Yeah.
But luckily for me, they don't come up often.
That's good to hear.
Because somebody asked me the turning radius in a bathroom with a wheelchair.
Yeah.
I might give you the answer.
Well, like, again, real estate professionals, attorneys, doctors, being able to have the resources to get that information is the critical part to it. Having all that stuff, like, memorized, boy, that's pretty difficult. Now, I definitely have been with some folks that memorize every Dagburn part of a contract and every Dagburn part of meets and bounds and shit that's useless. But your experience, Isaiah, like taking that test.
Yeah. So for me, it was a little different because I had to take it more than once. And it was kind of difficult, but a lot of it I don't really remember. It was more coming into the real estate game and joining the team and being able to have a lead that's like my age, that's very successful, and seeing that, it very inspiring, I would say.
Okay.
And then having another lead that's been in the game for so long, and she knows like the ins and outs of the real estate game.
Yeah.
So that was more helpful than.
You're talking about a team leader.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. I wasn't sure what you were saying.
Yeah.
Like, okay, good.
Than having just a course and not having anybody to help you out.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you guys joined a team, and then, for one reason or another, you made a decision to basically join our team, correct?
Yeah.
And like there's a story behind that, and we can get into that if you want to, but I think the one thing I wanted to maybe get from you guys is being sub 6 months in the industry as a licensed real estate sales professional. So like we'll just talk about the stuff that's on the team that we're at right now. We're on the same team together. What are some things that you were looking for in a team that made you go, oh my gosh, this is what I'm looking for? I'd love to understand that, Brett.
I think there's definitely consistency. You need to show up for the team,
Okay.
which is good. I can come in each day knowing what I want to achieve to go over each day for our meetings.
Okay.
So that helps me to keep on track. And joining the team, you have knowledge. Everybody that's coming in that has been here longer than us all have different experiences.
Okay.
Can help out with different things. Everybody's open to helping each other.
Mhm.
I'm not afraid to go and approach anybody on the team with a question. And the establishment. We did start at one team. We did switch to another team at one point.
Mhm.
And being in the real estate world less than 12 months,
Yeah.
we don't have the clientele built up yet. So coming into an established team was important because we could hit the ground running almost.
Gotcha.
So that was a huge factor back in early December.
That's about when that happened.
Yeah.
And we're here in April. This will probably air, in May sometime. And I just want to share with everybody out there that it's interesting, like, these guys are new in the industry, and in 1 month, each of them have helped helped 5 clients successfully go under contract, whether they're representing the buyer or the seller. That's pretty unheard of in the industry. Like, there's definitely people who do it, and we've had a lot of folks in our world that do that, but being very new and helping 5 clients in 1 month, like, these guys are really putting in the energy and effort. And I'm going to say a little bit more of the things that I've seen you do is that you showed up, because we had strong upfront contracts. Like, we did not interview you guys in a way that we typically would. Like, we basically, like, there was an adoption process pretty much. And we wanted to see you be successful, but we didn't know. Like, we understood disc profile, but, maybe just not understanding the work ethic and maybe hearing some other folks say, I'm just not sure. But I think the thing that you came in and you proved is you put in the time, energy, and effort. And these guys stay late. They're in early. They're making their phone calls. They're prospecting and building their business. I'd love to understand what it is, Isaiah, that when you came over here to the team and in the team atmosphere, like, what are some things that you've experienced?
Like, wait, well, what do you mean?
Like, what have you experienced? Like good, bad, and ugly.
What I've experienced some difficult times, especially working with some clients. A lot of times people my age, they see realtors or real estate professionals and they're like on TikTok and they're like, oh wow, like I want to be that one day. They just think it's that easy.
Yeah.
Until you step into it and it's like just different. Sometimes you do have your clients that are just easy, just straightforward. You don't see them again till settlement, or things just run really smooth. But then other times there's other clients where other obstacles come into place, and it's just not easy.
Well, again, in the short time that you guys have been in it, we get, like, our team over the years has done over 3,000 transactions. So there's a lot of volume that in our team. But you guys got to experience some rather interesting situations so early in your career, which I think is really important, because sometimes you go, like, I remember your first transaction, but I remember Brett's one that just happened recently where, we're doing inspections and we're outside of inspection periods, and, we got our lovely clients climbing on top of a roof, trespassing, but you were gracious with them and you helped set the expectation that we just can't do that, guys. And I got to meet those clients at a settlement. It was pretty funny, but great folks that just maybe don't understand the expectations. I'll ask you, Brett, what's one thing that you've experienced in the first 6-ish months of helping clients that you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't think this could ever happen, other than the thing I just shared?
I think I've experienced more than one of those already,
Yes,
and
you
I'm
have.
very happy that I have, because now I'm knocking all those things out of my way already. I'm learning to take them in my first few months.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that something else will come up, but I'm glad that I'm getting to handle these early while I'm still teaching myself to do the process as it is.
Yeah. let's have a little share of like maybe what's another typical, or not a typical situation, but like, because you've had plenty of typicals where they went very smooth and you have your support staff helping you through the transaction. But what's something else that's kind of like everybody go, oh my gosh? Do you want to share any of those? I mean, you don't have to.
I gotta think.
It's okay. I mean, I am putting you on the spot here a little bit.
One you're working on right now, IRS.
Yeah. How much of that do I say though?
Maybe you can just say, listen, there's some challenges with clearing title right now. So you could leave it like that.
Well, I'm currently having an issue with one of my clients' deals. The house that they are going to be purchasing, there is a tax lien on the home that nobody was aware of but the other party. And it's just given us some extra hurdles that both me and my client were not prepared for. And trying to fight for that client as well as keep them calm is something that I'm learning to handle.
Yeah.
Because I know how I would feel if I was in this position. And just trying to keep expectations and trying to keep things moving.
Yeah. I think you're going into it with a collaborative, like, let's work together to try to resolve this versus a combative type of, mentality. And that I think that one great thing that I've seen about Brett is he's this super calming. He has this calming effect. I mean, hell, when I come in here all jacked up, I just want to go, oh, yeah, it's so nice to be around Brett because he's just, pretty calm. Calm, cool, and collected, right?
I've reached that it is what it is mentality. It's going to happen no matter what, so I just roll with it. I believe I've gotten more, what was I going to say?
I don't want to put words in your mouth. Not cynical or just more...
confident.
Oh, there it is.
I believe I've gotten more confident since I've been here for sure.
Oh my gosh, yes.
If something does come up, I'm not afraid to approach another agent to get it resolved.
Yeah, your teammates are there for you to support that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lean on the team for, hey, this is what I'm up against. What next steps should I take? And then I'm confident to go and talk to that other agent.
Yeah.
To make sure it happens.
That's good. And then Isaiah, you've had some very interesting folks. I'm thinking like your first settlement.
Oh, yeah, that one was interesting.
Interesting, right?
Yeah, where they just did not go through it. Just
you got to the settlement table.
Yeah, we did, and then
all of a sudden, we're just not buying this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How did that make you feel?
That one was like a wake up call. Like, you need to have upfront contract with your clients.
Yeah.
Just so things like that lessons and they don't happen over time, like with other clients.
And I think that's great because, like Brett alluded to it, you just said it specifically, in upfront contracts are setting an agreement of what could happen and what it looks like either moving forward or not, right? And I think that's the one thing that I've heard you guys do a much better job of from day one to now. The two big things is confidence has grown tremendously for you guys, like night and day. The work ethic is massive, and that last part is setting expectations with your clients. Because if we don't, guess what happens?
Settlements like that happen.
Yeah, non-settlements.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, we didn't settle. We went through all that process, and then it just blows up at the end. I remember that day. You were beyond. You might be pissed off. There was definitely a bunch of things going through your lid. And
I was just like in shock. Like, wait, that can happen?
Yeah. So it's probably better that does happen early, because when it happens after like all these easy transactions, and you're like, oh my gosh, like, should I even be in the industry? Like, what went through your head that day?
I was more like, again, just in shock. I didn't know things like that could happen. Then I Shoot, I lost my train of thought.
That's okay. You were going through that process,
Yeah.
like when that happened, like you were in shock. You were like, oh my gosh.
Like, yeah, just like things like this can happen. Like, I wasn't sure because there's contracts in place for things to go through. And yeah, sometimes I think to myself, like, am I suitable for this career? Is this where I'm supposed to be at? Is this my purpose? Sometimes I don't know. But like, then you have other months where it's just great, and I dedicated myself to making sure, okay, this is the calls I need to do. This is where I need to be. I need to stay here. I needed to figure it out because I don't have any other plan after there.
That's good. Like, there's a lot of times in life when it's great to burn the boats.
Yeah.
Not the bridge, the boats. The boats get you off that island. And, like, we're going to make it work here, okay? And I definitely see that in you. And then, Brett, like, when you had that type of adversity come into a couple different transactions, like, how did you deal with it? Like, mentally, because it's a mental game.
Are you adversities you're referring to?
Like in your the transactions, like when that
Big bumps in the road.
the big bumps, yeah.
So as far as these different transactions, it's only been a few, but they've each had their own hiccups. The first thing I do is process it, gather it, and I usually reach out to the leaders on our team.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they aren't available at the moment and I'm looking for something right then and there, I'll reach out to Sarah, you, and just to get some more knowledge based on experience to see what the best action would be to solve that issue.
Gotcha.
I used to get overwhelmed myself. Sometimes I'd think, oh, this is just going to blow up, this is it. But now I've learned just from our meetings, trainings, the books that we've read, just to take a moment and just realize we can work it out somehow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're getting there.
So let's talk a little bit about like the DISC profile, our personality assessments that you guys apparently took one prior, and then you guys recently took a new assessment. And Isaiah, let's talk a little bit about yours. Like, what did you see from your first assessment to now?
So in the beginning, I was a higher I want to say, more of like the charming and the,
Charming.
the
party waiting to happen.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Because coming
the
from
opposite
my
of introvert, right? Yeah.
From my background, from the car wash, being that customer service, being happy, cheery with customers that come in, that was just where I had to.
I used to go through that car wash, and you weren't happy, cheery towards me. You were happy, cheery towards the other realtors.
I was probably so. Little background on that.
Here we go.
So, we used to get commission while working over there.
Okay.
So any member, if you were a UWC member, we would actually get a commission off you if you were to sign up.
Okay.
Back, how long ago? That was 20.
3-4 years ago.
Yeah. And I was actually, the best one in there.
Really?
Yeah.
Better than Brett.
Oh yeah, I had way more signups than he did.
Damn, competition.
So it turns out I was not into the sales side of the car wash business as much as I thought, and wanted to be more hands-on.
Okay.
And I had gone towards management, and then Isaiah had become the lead sales associate for the York location.
Wow. I did not know that. So because I was already a member.
Yeah, we were like, okay, he's a member, just let him pass through.
He was the guy that would always drive by, and he'd have his window up, and he'd wave and smile and keep going.
Did I smile? Probably not too often.
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay, hi.
Silver Acura. There was a black Ford Expedition at one point.
See, you remember all of them. I don't
Black
remember
Range
a lot
Rover.
of them.
We had Lehr Jet. Not that I'm getting too far into stuff.
Oh my gosh, this is funny.
We saw a lot of cars there.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
Yeah. That's interesting you remember that. Wow.
Dealter.
Yep. Dylan. He goes through there. I think he'll be here a little bit later today with his special guest, the crybaby. So that's pretty cool. So like disc profile wise, you retook it, Isaiah, and what did you notice?
I ended up becoming a higher D.
It's like a
which is-
driver.
yeah. Being more in the industry, the more training we had is just we had to drive this transaction to where it needed to be. Just because we are the professional. Like, I love the analogy you like to give. Like, I'm not going to go to a doctor and tell him, oh, I'm diagnosed with this, this, and this. He's the one that has to let me know what I'm diagnosed with. I just let him know where I have my pain.
That's good. So asking those questions.
Yeah.
Wow, we're getting into sales training here. This is beautiful. But on the DISC, the D, it increased, and what happened was you're able to make decisions a little bit quicker now.
Yeah.
Okay? Love that. Drive the transaction, but asking questions. This is great. I'm loving this. Sarah's out in the audience. Hey, guys, how you doing there?
I am the audience.
Oh, well, Sarah and Shane are the audience today, so we have a real small studio audience today. It's usually hundreds or at least thousands, sometimes millions, but today it's just two. But two very important people.
Yeah,
Two.
it wouldn't happen without these two.
I know. We're grateful that you're here. And then, Brett, what about yourself? Like, you took it previously, and then you did it recently, the assessment. What differences did you see?
Well, I actually brought it up to Sarah one day that I wanted to retake it.
Okay.
Because when we had taken it the first time was before our interview to get onto this team.
Yeah.
So when I was taking it, in my mind, I wanted to do whatever I could to get back into a team. So I don't think my initial disc profile may have been 100% who I am. So I wanted to get a second one. That one I was a pretty high C.
Okay.
And then the one that I just recently took, still higher C, but more D also.
Okay, good deal. So that the high driver can drive you through the cautious thinker, the C side of things. And we've seen that in other agents on our team that have, or sales professionals on our team that have typically that cautious thinker. We find them as to be better on the showing side, like support the sales side and not necessarily be a higher producer on the sales side. But when you have that higher driver in you, you can push through the cautious thinking. So, and it's proof based on your sales volume. Like, just to share that, like, if I think they'll continue to do it, because like you show up early, you stay late, you make the calls, you get the appointments, you're helping your clients get under contract and successfully close now, and you keep doing what you're doing, you guys are going to become some of the top in the United States. Like when you start doing 3, 5, and 6 per month, top in the U.S. Yeah. Oh, wow. Not number one, but definitely top. Like top 5%. Yeah. Remember, there's 1.6 million-ish out there right now, and most are doing 1 and 0. That's a lot of zeros. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're on the way out of the business. They joined, they're on their way out. So you guys are on their way to some serious success in this industry. Like the sales training, how has that helped you? And we do the Sandler sales training, and then we use a lot of the Phil M. Jones wording. And Brett, like your experience in getting sales training right now, like how is it working for you?
I think the book that we read recently together, exactly what to say?
For real estate.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That was the Phil M. Jones one.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was forgetting the title. Yeah, the book that we read recently together, exactly what to say, really helped. It was an easy read. There wasn't a million words on the page. It was exactly what you needed to know to help yourself.
Yeah.
And the phrases that they gave you, you could use right after you read. Put it into your calls that day and test it and see how it works. And a lot of that has helped to keep people listening, keep them engaged, and really see where you can get the conversation to go.
That's great. And then you guys ask a lot of questions now, probably more than ever.
Oh yeah, definitely. We know what questions to ask now than we did before.
Okay. Can you share some of those?
For example, how long you've been looking in the market. That way we'll get a feel of if they have worked with experience with other real estate professionals and see what their background is with other real estate professionals.
Okay. That's good. What are some other questions you're asking?
Your turn, bro.
This is going to happen.
A lot of the people that we're calling, we ask them, oh, have you seen any homes that you've liked, that you want to look at?
Yeah.
Things like that. And they say, oh, I'm just looking.
Mm-hmm.
And then just instead of saying okay and ending that call, well, how long have you been just looking?
Yeah.
Because it gets them to respond instead of just thinking the call is over.
Right.
So I'm still figuring out those things that I can say to keep them on a call or an in-person conversation and being confident enough to ask those.
That's good.
I'm still learning to get past the rejection calls.
Yeah. Because that's something that's in our lives is rejection, the personal rejection, growing up and hearing mom and dad or teachers or leaders say stuff to us that rejects us because we hear lots of no's. And then we get into this profession where you hear a lot of no's and you think about, as a kid, I was told, no, I can't do this. No, I can't do that. And there's a comfort level to that no, but yet that's the thing. And like in our world, no's are okay. We want clear next steps. No's are fine. We love yeses, but like having clear next steps and being able to ask those questions. And I think that's one of the things I've seen you guys do is get way deeper in the questions. And you're super early in your career. So when you have meaningful curiosity-based conversations, it leads to more face-to-face relationship building, right? And we really push for those face-to-face.
Yeah, definitely, because that way you can build relationships with that client instead of just being there to buy or sell them a home. You're there as a friend to guide them in what would be best in that situation.
So has that been, like, probably 4 or 5 months ago, we really started pushing for the face-to-face appointments. Has that made a difference in your business?
Oh, yeah, definitely. My goal from the beginning when I started with the True Advantage team, it was definitely to get in front of as many people as I can so they see me as a real estate professional and not the car wash boy.
Car wash boy.
Yeah.
Jeez. And what about you, Brett?
I think the face-to-face appointments are extremely important. I have seen something come up about a house in the past that I think my buyers wouldn't be okay with.
Okay.
And I would call them or text them and say, hey, this happens, and then we'd cancel the appointment. Well, now I might still go out and show them that home and point it out, but at least I'm there in front of them and can explain it. Hey, I already have a few other things that we can look at while we're out here, instead of just, hey, this one's not going to be it. Let's move on. Because then they might be contacting somebody else.
It's the instantaneous gratification environment that we live in. We can go to all these portals and they can get so much information on a home way quicker than we can provide it. But guess what those portals can't do? Face-to-face relationships. To ask curiosity, like have super curiosity-based conversations that are empathetic in nature to, again, that relationship. That face-to-face makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are experiencing it because it's obviously what, you're getting ratified contracts and helping more clients. It's beautiful. I think one of the things, like when you came onto the team is, again, I'll just be very candid. You guys were going to be a member of our team regardless. Because I didn't even know if you met our disc profile. We brought you onto the team. We were at the same brokerage, and we still are at the same brokerage with the team that you were with. And based on a previous relationship, we said, you know what, we're we want to try to help these guys be successful. And we had lower expectations, just to be very honest. But let's fast forward here. It wasn't much longer into the beginning of the relationship, into our relationship, where Sarah and I, our expectations rose massively for you.
So I remember my first time when I came to you guys, I was like, oh, this client wants to put an offer in this home. And I wrote one, but it was really quick.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what the steps were. And it was crazy because I joined, 2 weeks later, a person wanted to see a home already.
Yeah.
And then wanted to write on it all that same day, that same weekend. And yeah, that one was, yeah.
Yeah. Brett, similar? Like,
What's your question? I got lost.
I got lost too.
Yeah, I don't know if you know,
I
I don't
was
be knowing the
giggling.
question, so I just be saying, just go with the motion.
I don't
bro.
think we cut this because sometimes I forget my questions.
Yeah, I don't remember what you were asking.
Why are you picking on me? I think I need to leave. That's funny.
The expectations were,
Yeah.
and then I don't know that there was a question there.
Yeah, we'll just move on. Okay.
It was beautiful what Isaiah said, but I don't remember what that was.
I know. I was so enamored with his response. I was like,
I remember when that happened. We jumped on Zoom and wrote a contract. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, 9 p.m.?
Yeah.
8, 9.
Jumped
Yeah.
on Zoom and did a contract.
well, so that's cool because like you didn't even know. And again, I don't want any of this cut out because you didn't even know what was going on. Like you were like just kind of blown away that somebody really wanted to write a contract. And then you went to one of your leaders or one of the team leads and just said, "Hey, can you help me out with this?" And it was like at 8 or 9. Was it a Sunday or something? Or?
Yeah, it was on a Sunday, Sunday, yeah. 8, 9 p.m. And I called them, they picked up, and they told me the steps. Like, this is what we need to do, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
And
And you were able
we
to
got it.
successfully get them under contract.
Yeah.
Did that one settle? Okay.
That was the one that did it. So.
They were cash. It was,
Yeah.
it was a flying fast.
Okay. So, but there's something to be learned about that, right? Back then, you didn't know how to have an upfront contract.
Yeah.
Right? And you could have said, "Hey, gang, there's going to be bumps during this process. And if we're going to get upset and cancel a contract just based on a few bumps, we shouldn't even write this right now, right?" And you probably would say something like that now. Because you're doing that. Yeah.
It was based on the walkthrough, wasn't it?
Yeah, final walkthrough, and then there were holes on the walls and just some minor things that could be
Stuff
easily
that
fixed.
They wanted out.
There was opposition mindset from the get-go. But again, we learn that if we don't address those, it's just like, why does an attorney add a clause or a paragraph or some bullet point to a contract? It's because some other ding-dong did something stupid, so we got to add the language. Same thing. Let's have a contract up front and say, if this happens, are we going to run away so quickly? Let's go into this as like, I'm the pilot, you're my co-pilot, but ultimately, like, let's find a way to make this work. Let's find a way to take off, make the transport and the landing, So Brett, since I forgot what the hell I was going to ask you last time, when you came, I'm going to ask you a new question, very specific. When you came onto the team, I think there was something that happened with you that I saw that I don't even know if you even realize, is that I believe you raised your own standards. Because you guys came in probationary, right?
Sure did. Scariest 6 weeks of my life.
Yeah, I'll go up to Brett like, what if they don't want to keep us? Where do we go after this?
We'll find you another team.
My beautiful bonded boys.
That was honestly a scary point on the team. Isaiah had some Spanish clients that were handed to him that were kind of on the back burner.
Ah, okay.
And I knew we were on this 6-week period. We were still being flex trained, so we weren't really out on Zillow Flex
For Zillow
yet.
Flex, yep.
And I remember coming in just walking back and forth with my head down, like, oh my gosh, I have a week left. I need to survive. So yeah, I was getting nervous,
Little
but
did they know we weren't counting those 6 weeks.
we were. We had
Oh, yeah.
we had the date written down.
Yeah, they came to us and said,
It was the day before Isaiah let it slip.
well, Isaiah came and said something to Sarah and then didn't want to say anything to me because he wanted to go to that 6th week and 1 day and go, I guess I'm still here. I'm on the team.
Stuck with me now.
We put a vote into the team.
Sure did.
They,
We did an anonymous poll.
they all except one agreed, right?
I think so.
No, they all agreed.
No, I think there was a no that was a joke.
Yeah, that was a joke.
Sorry. I think you're right. That's funny. So you guys made the cut, okay? And I think that's something that we all need to be conscientious of as we move forward in life is that there's always the what have you done for me lately, okay? And we're always trying to make the cut. Like your teammates are trying to help you and you guys are always trying to perform. And yes, there's going to be ebbs and flows to the business, the ups and downs. But let's talk about when you both came on the team, and Brett, Isaiah had some success right away. And I remember a little bit of a conversation where there was a little bit of like, why is, I don't know, I don't remember the exact words, but like, why the hell is he lucky like this?
That was the word lucky came out. I saw it as lucky.
Okay.
I think there's a different word for it now.
What would that word be?
It's a good question.
Well, that's the question I'm asking you. Since I didn't forget this time, the question for you: what do you think that word might be, or what? How could you best explain it?
I wouldn't say it was lucky. I think more it's fortunate that he has that opportunity.
Yeah.
That a lot of us don't have. Having that second language is huge.
Yeah.
And being the only person on this team that can speak Spanish is huge for him and the team.
It is.
So my people just weren't ready to buy a house yet. We're getting there.
Yeah, and again, here, I mean, the good news, bad news is that he already forgot his first language, so now we're all on the same equal playing field.
I try to practice my Spanish here and
You
there.
probably know it way better than him. He forgot it completely. The only Spanish word I was ever taught as a youngster was, and I'm not going to say it, but they know what it is. It's what I thought was a bad word, and it wasn't even Spanish. It was, I don't know,
Greek or
Spanglish.
something.
I don't know what the hell it was. But anyway, that's what happens when you grow up in North York, and you grow up like a dirtbag like me. Anyway, so the funny thing is that you guys came on board. Isaiah had some success. Brett thought it was, lucky or fortunate. And then all of a sudden, Brett started popping off some deals, like a bunch of them. And then Isaiah might have made a comment, oh what's that about? Except that's when he knew Spanish, so he said it in a different language. Right?
Yeah.
There was a little bit of that going on. So that's called competition. And I think this little friendly competition that we have amongst all of our teammates and you guys between yourselves is a very healthy thing. Like that healthy competition where we have that great positive pressure, it helps make, top 5% agents. And like these ding-dongs out there call you rock stars. I don't. I call you high-level performers, and you guys are on your way to that. So we're seeing it. Let's talk about let's talk a little bit about like future plans. Like, Brett, what's the future hold for?
Well, the previous month I did have 5 that went under contract, and that gave me the proof that I can do it.
Yes.
And my goal is to keep that pace. I know I'm not going to have 5 every month.
But there's going to be months when you have 8,
might
9.
have
just so
more,
you know.
might have less. But as long as I'm still moving forward, that's my goal. And we did vision boards in December.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that I achieve what's on that vision board.
Yeah.
So my end goal is to be like financially stable, have my own
Financial freedom.
Okay. You want to say it in Spanish?
He's not able to do that any longer.
Nah.
It's all gone.
Financially stable.
Okay.
And I want to keep going with real estate. I know that I'm competitive when it comes to that, not when it's like physical sports, but definitely real estate.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I think I have things to show my family, to show people in my world that they were like, are you sure you want to do something like this? And the people that have those 9-to-5 jobs
Mhm.
that are in my world that aren't sure about it, this is me proving that it is possible.
It definitely is, and we're seeing some great stuff from you, Brett. So keep up the great work. Isaiah, future plans.
So for me, of course, to stay in real estate, I come from a background with a single mom,
Okay.
and she sacrificed a lot for me to be where I'm at now, and I thank her a lot for that. So it's to really prove that I can do it, and that as a young age, you can dedicate yourself to something and be able to find success to it. I plan to dedicate myself to still coming to the office every day, getting my calls in, and prospecting with new leads.
That's great.
Yeah.
Good. So it sounds like you guys are in this for the long haul.
Oh, yeah.
That's great. I love it, and I just love the way that you guys have embraced it and you prove it with actions. You said you were going to do it. You maintain the integrity, the words and actions matching up, and it continues to pay off. So my expectations are probably a lot higher right now for you than even what you're thinking. I want to say fuck the financial freedom, or fuck the financial stability, and let's get freedom. Okay? And like, for your mom, do it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Your mom's already proud of you.
Yeah.
Okay? She's already going, holy shit. He went from selling 6 new car washes a month to 5 houses a month. Way more revenue, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to say anything else while we're here today?
I don't think so.
They just want to go back and prospect. They're like, this is my prospecting time. I need to get back.
Oh, we have studying to do now that we're licensed in a second state.
That's right. Now they're licensed in Maryland as well. That's right. You guys are learning the Maryland contracts. Good. Well, again, I'm super grateful that I got to spend some time with the teammates that are here at True Advantage, Isaiah Romero and Brett Jones. If this resonated with you, please like, share, comment. Super grateful that I got to have these two folks that I get to be on their team here today. Make your day great.